Hello and welcome to DCP Live episode number 293, the Fate of the Beards edition, featuring the infamous True Vanguard. Welcome.
What makes me infamous?
Because you're infamous, man.
Is this something I need to know?
I feel like T-Von is infamous.
First off, T-Von.
T-Von's definitely infamous.
You're definitely related to T-Von, so come on.
He comes out every now and then.
Guilty by association.
That's right.
So, we got some podcast business to take care of here in the beginning because we did have a charity stream yesterday, and it was amazing.
Right.
It was absolutely amazing. We want to thank everyone who came out to donate to that because we crossed just over 81,000, right?
We did just over 81. Yep.
Yeah, 81,000.
Which is incredible.
That's an insane number.
I'm sure about that.
Briar has confliction about that, but
that's right.
Yeah.
What was that 80K? I believe it was the Friar Briar.
Friar Briar was at 80K, but yeah,
and then we moved the beard.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Friar Briar.
Yeah.
Did you say fried briar?
Friar
When the
Briar.
stream ended, it said like 75K.
Friar briar. Okay, fried briar. I was picturing him doing something entirely different.
We can only hope.
So at the last 5 minutes, we bumped things up to 75K for Mylan to do a shoey, which for those uncultured swine out there is when you chug a beer through your shoe. So that's what that is. And then we also agreed, Mylan was disturbed about that and said, you guys have to shave the beard to 80 then. And we somehow agreed to that. And then at the very end, we we had like an anonymous 5K donation come at the very last second and didn't even.
Fortunately, it was just a little bit late, and
it was a little bit late.
Next
Briar
streamer
was not too late because it was definitely counted as our block. The GCX team moved the 5K over to our block, so we officially
hijinks.
Did 81.
Hijinks, yeah. All right. Well, I think it's time to reveal to Briar. This will be the first time that any of us have seen each other like this. So
yeah.
All right, chat.
Don't scare the children.
And don't scare. So Briar, you want to tear it off in 3, 2, 1, right? Briar.
I'm ready when you are.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Show the camera.
Oh! Look at that tash! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I kept the stash bushy in honor of Mylan. It's not.
Yeah, we're doing the Mylan.
Yeah, it's not permanent. Right. Yeah. Briar, let's see. Did you shave? I swear to God, Briar.
Look, I'm showing. Like I'm right here.
I see beard behind you.
What are you talking about,
Briar.
Tessie? Are you saying you don't trust me?
I don't trust you. After all these years, I don't trust you.
Look, we ended the stream at $75,000.
$80,000.
Is this
Mylan did a shoey for you. Tefty lost a beard.
I shaved my beard. It's literally been since 2015. 2015 was the last time I didn't have a beard. And all the way back to high school. I'm 39. So all the way back to high school is when I started growing a goatee. This chin hasn't seen daylight or felt the breeze. I've been feeling weird sensations on my face all day. I was like, my face is cold, my chin's cold. My face looks way more animated too without a beard. I don't know what's going on with that.
I have facial expressions again. Oh.
Oh, you look cold.
I am cold. Send a blanket.
Yeah.
Send a fake
Amazing.
This
beard.
beard is getting kind of heavy. I'm just gonna rest it here.
Well, this is why we eat Briar.
Yeah, this is why you're getting literally basted, toasted, baked, braised, everything, Briar. And TV's
Look, the
going
stream
to head chef
ended
it.
At like 76,000. We didn't make it. We didn't make the 80,000.
We made it.
It came in right at the last second, and then
Just
the
didn't happen.
officials.
I mean, we tried real hard. We talked to like Southern gentlemen and Australian people, and we drank a lot of Fosters.
yeah.
So I hear.
There was Foster's. You had Foster's, yeah.
And unfortunately, we just came up a little short of that 80 grand. Sad to say, but maybe next year.
I think there should be a poll in chat to say whether or not Briar should shave his face
What do you
on the
guys think?
podcast. tonight, right here.
Live chat. Should Briar shave?
Yeah, should Briar shave out of
Live on
duty?
the show
Yeah,
tonight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
during questions. What do you think? I think people want to see that bare face, Briar.
I don't know. I'm looking at chat right now, and I see a clear consensus that no, I should not shave.
There is so many
Not
yeses.
a single person said no.
So many yeses. Nobody's coming to your defense right now, Briar. Plus, with me, I mean, I did this last night. I have video evidence. Memes took of me taking it to the face. That sounds bad.
It's not fake. It's not a fake shit.
That sounds bad. I don't mean
You
that.
could have said that better, I think. But I
I
don't know.
should choose my words carefully.
We did have a pretty fantastic block last night, though, on the GCX
Yes, we did, yeah.
stream for the benefit of the St. Jude Children's Hospital. We did raise, what was it? What was the grand total? It was $81,000.
It was
Yeah, Briar, it was
81,
81,000.
That's awesome.
$81,000. Yeah. It was a heck of a lot of fun, too. We played some Destiny. What were we doing? We were doing a randomized loadout 2v2.
We
That
were
was heck
doing
of fun,
we were
man.
doing the game where Watts was cheating by throwing knives when we were supposed to only do guns only. And
After
That
someone
sounds like the
supered,
words of somebody who
all
lost.
the gloves
I was
went
gonna
off.
say. I was gonna say.
what can I
All the
say?
gloves
That
I'm just-
sounds like words of a bruised ego right there.
I'm just talking facts. I'm talking
Trust me.
someone who lost his beard.
Can I give you some advice from the perspective of somebody who has also been domed by Watts in front of an audience before?
Oh, yes.
Multiple times.
Famously.
You gotta take it in stride, okay? They won't forget. They never do.
No, I'm never going to forget that. I'm never
just
going to
gotta get
forget the
used to
beard
taking
betrayal. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Take it. You got to get used to taking the face. Thanks for the advice, TV. I appreciate that.
That's right.
It was great to see Mylan. Mylan's been on leave. He had a kid, but he came
He's-
back for the charity stream, which was really
On
fun to see
purpose.
him.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
actual
yeah.
lore daddy now.
Unreal.
For real lore daddy.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a hell of a thing, and you just wake up in a good mood after you do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Briar. I woke
Especially
up
when
different.
you do your incentives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Watts turned into Mylin. There was literally no difference between the picture. There's no difference.
Someone
Yeah, that was pretty good.
someone
who
clipped
made
the,
that?
the mustache wiggle.
Was that
It's
Sparty
great.
who made that?
Yeah,
image?
yeah,
That was pretty good.
Smarty. Yep.
Oh,
It was a lot of fun. I got
Yeah.
to scream at chat. It was great.
Yeah, nah. A lot
Yeah,
of oi,
nah,
oi,
yeah,
oi. Yeah.
Ah, fair dinkum.
Yeah, I discovered that it's really hard to carry an Aussie accent for more than just a word or two. You know what I mean?
More than just a good eye, mate. That's
Yeah,
it,
good
that's all I
day,
got.
mate. Oh,
That's it.
I forgot how
I'm
to
out.
speak.
I'm done.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I don't know how we transferred over to like the Southern gentleman accent, but we did.
Yeah.
Southern pastor came out of Briar. I don't know.
Yeah, Southern Baptist preacher about to
Run that
like,
by me real quick.
Uh-huh,
So I know
let's go,
some
man.
Southern Baptist preachers, so let
Let's
me
hear
hear
it,
that.
Brian.
It was a moment in time that I do not feel like I'm drunk enough to emulate at this point. in
Yeah,
time.
3 Fosters minimum to be, and a scoop of Vegemite apparently produces
Oh,
this
God.
result.
Vegemite was not good.
I actually
that
came
was a lot of
out.
fun. The community came up big. I was so surprised by the size of the donations too. Like
Yeah.
just like massive donations. Of course, Blandy McBlanderson came up
Oh man,
like
massive. Yeah.
like shockingly big.
Yep.
Was it $40,000 that he
Yeah.
donated?
It was like
in
half
total?
the
No
amount.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Whoa.
massive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what-
Yeah, he donated 20,000, and then he said that if chat got to an extra 10,000, he'd match it.
Yep.
And then he did. If you get 5,000, I'll match that as well. It was incredible.
And
Yeah,
when they say
yeah.
become legend, that right there qualifies.
Blandy's legend. Yes.
That
absolutely.
qualifies.
Wendy is for sure.
Yeah, that was amazing. So big shout out to Blandy. And just a giant shout out to everyone who came through. And even if you're just watching, like everyone who donated, hanging out, retweeting it and sharing it to let people know about what's happening with GCX. And I mean, every year it's always amazing to see the support that comes out. But, thank you guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. And shouldn't have donated that last bit to make me shave at least because Briar didn't.
Well, Briar is supposed to get a fryer.
Technically, not quite in time.
Unless we put enough pressure on Briar tonight to shave it live.
Shave it off.
Right?
Shave it off.
I did bring the clippers.
Oh, premeditated.
Hey.
All right.
That's what I was saying.
All right. Well, let's talk about Destiny, because that's what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
Weird. It is?
Mhm.
I want to know what True Vanguard's been up to, though, before we get going. What have you been up to, man?
That's true.
What are
A
we
long
up
time
to?
since you've been on the show.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey man, living the dream. You know, still loving Destiny. Still playing lots of Destiny and living that life. You know, my community really is. They're just diehard Destiny players, and I love that about them. So we have a good time with that. Especially with the new dungeons been out. New dungeons have been great. I don't do a lot of PvE, but there's something about the way that Bungie delivers a dungeon experience that just hooks.
Yeah.
And so I spend a lot of time, and luckily my community still, if I'm not playing PvP, hey, they love seeing me kill myself with Nova bombs in PvE too. So they tune in for that and they love it. You know,
Guilty.
we've done the solo flawless thing on all the dungeons on stream before. I haven't solo flawless duality yet, but that's on the list of things to do. So just loving the new content, loving the new season. Obviously getting involved in Iron Banner Rift, because Rift was a fan favorite back in D1. Y'all remember? So it's been a heck of a time. But life is good. It's busy, but it's good. Yeah, kids are off of school now for the summer, so I'm live streaming, and then at some point you hear, Daddy, you have to come right now. And I'm like, I'll be right back, guys. Give me a second. And I go upstairs. My daughter's like, listen, I'm watching this YouTube video, and this mouse fell asleep on a couch, Dad. And I'm like, I left my stream and I was like, yeah,
highly
that
important.
is incredible. That is
That's
absolutely
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah.
But I gotta go. So, but we're living the dream. It's all good, man.
That's great.
TV, when I saw before it actually happened, when we first started reading notes about the airborne changes, the airborne accuracy changes, what I was actually hoping was this was going to enable the return of the airborne sniper that you used to do in Destiny 1.
Sniper.
The Sky Sniper, sorry.
Yeah.
Which I always thought were some really entertaining videos that you used to do. You used to run around with a sniper, sniping people out of the air, right? Not sniping people out of the air, but in the air, shooting the sniper. How has the airborne accuracy changes actually affected you? Are they positive, negative?
You know,
what have you been thinking?
That's a really good question, because a lot of people have had a pretty negative response to those changes, because it basically made it so that if you really want to prioritize being able to accurately land shots while airborne, you had to really build into it. And so that takes away from other potential things in your build that you're used to having. So a lot of people are expressing their distaste for those changes, and I certainly sympathize. But at the same time, I'm eating pretty good, because your boy is a bit of a sidearm fanatic, and sidearms are pretty accurate from the air. And as it turns out, just to put it into perspective, most primaries, they tend to sit around 12 for the airborne effectiveness value on the gun, which is now a new stat value that you can see in the API. Traveler's Chosen is my favorite weapon in the game, and it has an airborne effectiveness value of 35.
Wow.
So I'm eating pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like Rat King has was it 31?
Yeah.
Cryosthesia has 28.
That's like
So-
special level, right? Like only special weapons have that level outside of sidearms.
It's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
It's pretty dang
Yeah.
good. And especially within the effective range of sidearms, that means that you're probably going to be landing your shots if you're using those exotic sidearms that the Bungie it seems intentional that they wanted to encourage you to use those things a little bit more, you know, because sidearms are, like they said, it's actually interesting. They said this before the new season dropped in a TWAB specifically. They said, people have been asking us, why are there no sidearm buffs? And they said, it's because we believe sidearms are actually really good. They're just not as popular as shotguns, fusion rifles, and SMGs. You know, you got to compete against. Most people are much more comfortable with the Shira's Wrath. A lot of people are more comfortable with your slug shotties, fusion rifles in those same ranges. But that doesn't mean that sidearms are bad. It just takes a little bit of a different sort of skill set, because the movement aspect is a lot more important to sidearms and positioning when you have to go up against those kinds of things. but their optimal, like adaptive sidearms, their optimal TTK is 0.6 seconds. That is cream of the crop
Yeah.
for primary weapons.
So
That is
good.
like tippy top.
Mhm.
So they're not bad. They don't need any buffs. And then now them being able to retain, it's not that they got better airborne effectiveness. They just got to keep their airborne effectiveness while other things lost some.
Yeah.
So now's is probably the best time, honestly, if you're a gamer out there and you're trying to figure out some new approaches in PvP. Now's probably the best time to get into sidearms in Destiny 2, just because of the way that the landscape has changed in such a way that those things are kind of favorable right now.
Yeah.
Or don't, and let me keep using.
That's fine
Right.
too if you
Your
don't.
wrath
That's fine
reign.
too.
Leave the sidearms to me.
Let people be
Keep
salty
everything,
over
yeah.
things not working like they used to. And keep that, yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. I think part of it also is like, there's a few auto sidearms, but really it's like the best ones are when you kind of treat it like a hand cannon almost and like fire it really fast. And I think like, at least in my experience, is that when I've used a 180 hand cannon, I didn't really connect with them. But when I force myself to use something like that and with that close range, then I start to understand the rhythm behind it. And I think that's where, like, if you get past that barrier of having to be quick with quick fires on the sidearm, then it starts clicking.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of people are really appreciating that Bungie did the full auto changes so that you can apply that if because a lot of people don't have that ability, whether it's something that's a physical problem, where they can't actually pull a trigger that quickly. So that's really helpful for some people if you've wanted to get into sidearms and that's been a barrier of entry for you. You can get past that. One of the things that I do actually is I do what's called a claw technique. So my pointer finger's on the top of the controller. My middle finger is actually my trigger finger. And because of that, this tip of the controller will sit in the palm of your hand, which gives you a lot more leverage for squeezing. So it's a lot easier to pull a trigger much more quickly if you're using your middle finger. So if you don't have to claw, by the way, if you want to do that. You could do a different grip where your pointer finger is constantly on the bumper instead, and your middle finger is your trigger finger, and your hand will naturally rotate for that and give you more leverage with this in the palm of your hand. So just a little tip if you're wanting to get into sidearms, and that has been a barrier of entry, is the trigger pull.
Nice tip. Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah, it's good.
I love Fool's Remedy, which is the Iron Banner sidearm. That one's great. Super fast. It's probably not as good as different ranges because it is one of those very, very fast sidearms. But man, it shreds. And you get kill clip on it. It's insanity.
Nice.
Insanity.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. Fool's Remedy is very fun.
If someone was to go and like hunt for a sidearm right now, what would you recommend for them to go after in this season?
That's a really good question. There are a couple of recommendations I have. Obviously, the exotic sidearms are really good. You got Travel the Chosen, your Chrysthesia, your Rat King. Rat King is a fantastic gun. So I definitely recommend checking those out. But other than that, tomorrow, Trials of Osiris goes live for the first time in Season 17. And with that comes a brand new sidearm. This is going to actually be our very first sidearm that we can have adept mods on in the history of Destiny 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a big deal for sidearm enthusiasts. So if you've ever wanted to get into sidearms and now you're thinking, well, which one should I start with? Play a little bit of Trials. You don't even have to win matches. Win some rounds, get some engrams, and eventually get your hands on that new sidearm. It's an aggressive 2-round burst sidearm. And has a very limited perk pool. A lot of things have these like big perk pools, so getting the combination you want is kind of hard to do. But the Trials sidearm, I think there's only like 5 perks in each column, so your chances of getting what you want are much higher. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, you can craft for yourself an Empirical Evidence, which is a kinetic 2-round burst aggressive sidearm. Same subfamily as the Forgiveness, which is the new Trials sidearm, which we'll get our hands on tomorrow. But it's fully craftable, so you can tailor make it to your liking. And it's actually Bungie buffed that one several weeks ago. It's really good. It's really good.
Cool.
And also with the Nightfall weapons and Trials weapons is that they're supposed to have a slightly higher airborne effectiveness rating. So with the Trials sidearm coming, and then you can get it Adept, and you can put Adept Icarus on it. Maybe you're just perfectly accurate in the sky, flying it.
Right.
Wow.
That's right.
Death from above.
Death from above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. I actually didn't realize that about the trials sidearm coming. So that's got to be it's got to be exciting, right?
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
It is
Tefty, you want to play
really-
trials tomorrow? You playing trials tomorrow, Tefty? Let's go.
Listen, it's good enough that I managed to get an OG D1 player back into trials. KJ Hovey's going to be playing some
Oh,
trials.
KJ,
tomorrow.
really?
This weekend, as a matter. Yeah,
Wow.
That's
right.
Oh my
amazing.
goodness.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
super
Yeah.
exciting.
Very cool. Yeah. How do you feel about them introducing trials 3 weeks later from the season?
You know, I actually, that's an interesting question. I've got, there's two ways you can go with it for me personally. One, if you do it this way, I don't so much mind it if you're keeping that power level advantage a factor. If light level advantage is enabled, I don't mind waiting a few weeks because I like when we get to take our time, enjoy the new content, it's not like this mad dash to get to this optimal power level so that you can compete in these environments. So I like when there's not that pressure because the average player, or honestly, I do this for a freaking living, and I like having that extra time to go play the dungeon and learn things and try some solo stuff in the meantime. If I was mad dashing for power level to compete in trials on week 1, I wouldn't be doing those things. You know what I'm saying? So I like having that room to breathe. Otherwise, the other option is to remove light level advantages from trials, just like you did Iron Banner, and have it be available sooner. Because no one really minded that Iron Banner was there. It's up for a whole week, not just a weekend. You got plenty of time to interact with that content if you want to, and not worry about optimizing your power level to do so.
Yeah, that's an interesting point about the light level or like the power level issues or the need versus not having it. We'll get to Iron Banner and Rift and all that, but I was just curious about like that experience for a week. Did you feel, was at any point you felt like you missed the fact that power level wasn't enabled for that?
Not at all. No,
Yeah.
if anything, the thing that it does for me especially is it opens up all kinds of new options, especially when you're experimenting with it. And for a lot of people, this is their first time ever playing Rift.
Yeah.
And it's, you don't go into Rift with the exact same approach that you do a standard deathmatch game mode or an elimination game mode. So for a lot of people, it's like, well, I only have so much infusion fuel, and I just infused the stuff that I typically use in these other game modes, but now I feel limited because I can't just go and call an audible and say, oh, for Rift, I think I'd really like to leverage, like, you know, the Astrocyte verse, but now I don't have infusion fuel to get that thing up high enough, and it kind of throws off my whole build, and I want to have 100 discipline, which means I have to swap out this other armor piece to compensate for what I'm losing by putting, you know what I'm saying? So it's this whole snowball effect of changing things, and you just don't have the infusion fuel and the resources to do that. So I like that light level advantages were just gone, because it gives you as a player a whole lot more freedom to say in the moment, I want to try this, I want to try that, especially as you're getting new Iron Banner drops. And you're like, oh, shoot, I just unlocked the Hero's Burden again, man. I used this thing back in year 1 of Destiny 2, and they brought it back. I got a really good rule. I'd like to try this thing out, but I don't want to stop grinding Iron Banner. Hey, you can do that. No problem. So I did not miss the light level advantages at all.
Not at all. And people were so worried about all these sunset weapons returning. And
Lord have mercy. I didn't get mountaintopped once.
I saw maybe
Not
one
a single time.
the whole
Oh, you actually
time.
saw one? Yeah.
I saw one revoker that killed me once, and then like that was it.
Yeah. Interesting. So you
There's all the weapons we have right now. Pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. So
As it turns out.
You'd have no problem then if they took trials and got rid of the power level requirement, or just the
Not
power
at
level
all.
advantage, right?
I don't see it having a dramatic effect on the sandbox because, I mean, some people will point to Revoker. Listen, rounds are typically over. Before you run out of sniper ammo, run over and pick up a brick and start shooting your sniper again. I mean, it happens. Revoker was useful in trials. It was a very popular choice in trials, but there were other factors that led to that at the time. The landscape we were in, the sandbox that we were in, things have changed. I mean, how many people are really going to pick a Revoker with the lowest zoom value possible, which has now significantly less aim assist, by the way? Who's going to pick that over the option of running a sniper rifle that you can fully craft, a sniper rifle you can put adept mods on, sniper rifles with origin perks and origin traits? I mean, we've come a long way since then. So I really don't think that you're going to be losing anything. If anything, what you're going to be doing is removing that barrier of entry. And a lot of people who complain about Trials but love to play it, they complain because the player pool is pretty low.
Yeah.
Which makes it a much more sweaty experience. But when you remove that barrier of entry, guess what? You infuse the playlist with a lot more players since it's more approachable. And
that makes sense.
More people playing the activity is better for everybody. It's better for everybody.
Yeah, it's always better when the population's high in Trials. Always
Absolutely.
better.
My son played Iron Banner for the first time in his life because he plays Destiny alongside a long list of other video games. So he's never been at the top of the power level group, you know? So for him last week, he was like, I'm going to try this game mode out. And he did, and he liked it, and he got some Iron Banner drops for it. For the first time in his life, he got to interact with that content because he's not at the top of the power level group. So that's what I'm saying. You want to open up the plays to more players. Hey, I'm totally fine. I'm not actively pushing for it, but at the same time, I'm totally fine if they ever decided, hey, let's do away with power level advantages in Trials.
Yeah. Well, it's a theme that kind of comes back in this podcast, and like we kind of hammer on it a bit too much, and then we're like, okay, we need to shut up about the power level type of stuff. But it just goes to show you that even on like end game, or like not necessarily end game, but like people who dedicate a lot of time to it, it just doesn't make that much of a difference in the long scheme of things for your end game experience. It's just this number that goes up. It's really the build that you're chasing, or the role that you're chasing, right? Mm-hmm. That's your end game, right? And what you're doing those activities. So, we're just saying that you approve also of the power level.
Oh, it was great.
I'm True Vanguard, and I approve this message.
I do the same thing in Iron Banner. I'm like switching stuff around all the time. And I'm like, oh, I don't have any upgrade modules. Got to go to the tower, get some upgrade modules. So I don't have any infusion fuel left. And then it's more of a pain in the ass than anything.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep. So Rift, I'm curious how you felt about Rift. You know, this is Destiny 2, brand new Rift. Well, not brand new, but like it's new Rift,
Definitely
right?
New. Definitely.
It's definitely new.
New Rift, who dis, right?
I feel like I'm talking a lot.
No, it's good. We want to hear from you.
That's
man.
why you're here, TV. They don't want to hear from us.
I thought they came to see Briar Shave. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I came to see Briar Shave because he
did he see more?
No, you say new Rift, but I mean, put that into perspective for a second. When was the last time Rift was available for players? I mean, you're talking.
D1.
It's been. Destiny 2 launched in 2017.
Yeah.
And Rift.
I had a beard back then.
Rift essentially died way before then. So it was a rotating, unpopular playlist in Destiny 1 at the end of D1's life cycle. So you're talking maybe 6 years ago since the last time Rift was really relevant. I mean, how many games have come and gone since then? That's a long stretch of time for games.
How many Destiny killers?
So you say, how many Destiny killers? So you say new, I mean, kind of. It's been a long time since we've interacted with that game mode, even the veterans. And on top of that, the game mode changed so much. And I do have my issues with Rift the way that it shipped, but I will give credit where it's due. Bungie saw the issues that led to the downfall of Rift in Destiny 1 6 years ago. And decided to do something about it preemptively now. So you get these mechanics like every time a spark is dunked in a rift, the teams are reset back in their home bases. And so that alleviates the pressure of what teams were typically doing with 6 stacking and using Rift as an opportunity to farm things like 7th column medals. We ran out of medals because they could just shove a team back into a locker and spawn camp them. So that's one thing that just gives a hard reset that says no snowballing. Okay, we're just going to send you back to your sides and let you start fresh. So even if you're getting hammered, you get a little bit of breathing room, time to regroup, time to reset. And there's no snowballing where the other team has all the heavy ammo. The other team has all the special ammo they've been picking up. And, stacks of these buffs on their guns. It all just gets reset. Yeah, that's one way that I have to give credit where it's due. It's one of the ways that they alleviated some of the issues from Rift and D1. Another thing that they did is they changed the spawn system. In Destiny 1, if you remember, you had one base where you spawned in. That was it. If there were enemies in your base, Erroneous. Doesn't matter. You're still gonna spawn there right next to the guy with 12 shotgun shots and his super and his heavy. We don't care. And this time around, what you'll notice is if a team shoved another team back into their base, what Bungie did is they said, okay, well now the team, they're gonna spawn in the middle of the map on the spark. So if you got shoved into a locker, you just respawn in the middle of the map, you pick up the spark completely uncontested and go back to the other team's base and you score a point.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways they way number 2 they alleviated it. And way number 3 is they completely removed kills and KD from the scoreboard. So if you went into Iron Banner Rift with the sole purpose of farming noobs, like, oh, we're gonna pub stomp the noobs, you can't screenshot your 50 bomb. You can't screenshot your 50.0 KD that you got from the match. None of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these things they did preemptively to say, we want this to be a fun game mode where it's not about the sweats stomping and farming the noobs and the casual gamers. We just want it to be a fun game mode. And I think they delivered on that. I do have my complaints.
Okay, before we get to the complaints, the lack of kills counting. Yeah, I see like a divide on that in the community, and I understand it from a point of view of needing to balance the game mode, so it's not so it just doesn't feel like clash with a little bit of objective in there, make you actually feel like you have to do the objective. But how do you feel about it? Because like there's a little, I feel like they could have put it in a different perspective to where at least some confirmation comes up that one of the teammates have been killed by you, so like a confirmation of you are technically have a slight advantage now that one of those team members are dead. You know what I mean? Like if you have more players on the field, technically you have the advantage. Like you should make the push with the spark. One thing that I found was there wasn't as much feedback with that for me as a player to know that, oh, these players are dead, time to push. You know?
Yeah, I feel you. Bungie actually gives you that bar at the top of the screen that shows you skulls for every dead opponent.
Right.
Every opponent who's looking at a respawn screen and a respawn timer, they display that to you. So if you get into that cadence, there's a bit of a learning curve. So there's a bit of a learning curve there. If you get used to looking at that toolbar at the top and checking that, you can have that information and know, listen, 5 guys are actively respawning right now. That means there's only one opponent on the field. Hey, I'm going to get this res on my teammate. We're going to pick up the spark. We're just going to rush and make some ground up and see if we can get this thing shoved into the rift before they have a chance to respawn.
Yeah.
So the information is there. It
See,
is a bit of a learning curve.
I saw that though, but I'm pretty sure if you're alive, you have to pull out your ghost to see it, right? It's only when you die. Then you
Probably.
Because I felt like
in some game modes, like elimination, it just shows it without.
Yeah. I kind of wish they would have just showed it with Rift, so that way you knew, like, oh, all the team. There's only 2 people left alive. That would be good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'd like that change.
It doesn't just default show it. You do have to check. I think it would be helpful if they did that. But as far as the kill tracker on the scoreboard goes, my stance on that is really a stance that I've had for a while now. I don't mind if they want to tailor make the initial scoreboard as they want it, but these are the same developers who back in the day had what we called the Carnage Report at the end of every match in a Halo game, back when Bungie had the reins of Halo. They had the Carnage Report at the end of every match where you had the initial scoreboard, which showed the basic information. But after a match, you could go into the Carnage Report and it would show you how many grenade kills you got, how many guns kills you got with the assault rifle, how many guns kills you got with the SMG, this, that. Everything broken down in great detail for you. Now, we know they track these things because the API can show them for you.
Right.
It does, yeah.
But they don't show it to you in game. So we know that stuff is being tracked. It's just not being displayed to you. And so if you want to avoid this issue where you can just screenshot, I got to drop 50 bomb on these noobs, you do a Carnage Report to show that stuff instead of the initial scoreboard. That way, it only shows you. It doesn't show a list of players where it shows True Vanguard got farmed by this guy who dropped a 50 bomb on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no shame in it for me. It doesn't list these players who got farmed and show them with their negative KDs. All it does in the Carnage Report is shows you. How many kills did I get total? With what did I acquire those kills? You know what I mean? And so I think it is, even though it is a pure advantage or objective game mode, I totally respect that. I love objective game modes. but this is a PvP game.
Yeah.
And killing is important. Whether you like it or not, it is an important factor. So while I love all the other things that they did to try to alleviate those issues from Rift and D1, and I respect those, I'm the kind of player where I will run the Spark every time if you let me. I love running the Spark, but I also care about how many kills I got. I do. I can't turn it off. I can't not care. You know what I'm saying? I can't rewire my brain to not see that as something,
not
as
care
an
about
accolade.
that KD.
You know, and it's what KD, whatever. I don't care, but it's like I like to use really memey stuff. So if I drop a 50 bomb with a Monte Carlo, you better believe I want to go into a post game screen and be able to see that. And be like, yo, I can't believe we got holy goodness. Like I get hyped about that kind of stuff. I know a lot of players do. So I think I would prefer if they were to implement. If they don't want to keep it on the main scoreboard, totally fine. But give us some way to see that stuff in game, because I know you're tracking it. I know you are.
Yeah,
I'd like to see it.
I completely agree. Because like with Rift, if sometimes you'd be on a team with people who would just run for the Spark, and that's what they wanted to do, and they wanted to take it. So if I can't see anything except picking up the Spark or any of those other stats, I don't actually have a way of really telling how I did or how I contributed to that win.
Yeah.
So it's like, sure. And that's why I actually really like the idea of the Carnage Report stuff, because I actually sometimes don't like showing the full scoreboard with people, because it's like, clearly the reason I was able to get this amount of kills is because there's people who maybe aren't as good at the game.
First time.
Yeah, it's like people who like haven't figured out how to jump, right? So it's I would like that.
On top of that, I think offensive and defensive kills actually would be super useful to see on the report.
Yeah,
because then you could see, like, if people are really good at like defending when someone has a Spark, like it will show that they're getting a lot of kills on defense, or they're getting a lot of kills as aggressive offense type of stuff. That I think that's actually pretty important information.
I think so.
Right.
Brian, every time I look up at you, you're over here like you're trying to keep from just
giggling,
busting out. Like I don't know, like what is going on in your head? I don't know.
Chat is killing it tonight.
I don't want to know.
Up, just got this grin,
I'm just reading chat over and over. Like Jesus Christ said, "Can we CG Tefty's mustache like Henry Cavill in Superman?" Tefty, can you stop playing games now and pull the rest of your beard out from under your mustache?
Oh, yes, my bad. Let me do that real quick. Oh, man. Those are all fair points.
Oh, my God. Why is Ron Burgundy on the show?
Ron Burgundy? Oh, my God. That's
I
amazing.
love Scotch.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Ned Flanders.
Yeah,
saw some Ned Flanders comments.
I think I'm going to ban all these people.
Cop stuff.
I did see cop stuff.
I'm coming in afterwards and using the ban hammer, knocking everyone out. I love to hear the criticisms, though, on how you feel about Rift, because like Rift was fun, but I didn't walk away loving it. I definitely had my issues with it. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Criticism number one. I really don't know why Bungie feels like they have to shove almost a decade-old maps down our throat. So Rift, people wanted to get that title, and they wanted to get the Wizard's Rebuke fusion rifle. They wanted to get the Hero's Burden submachine gun. So we knew they were going to spend a lot of time in this playlist. And so you give us 3 maps. And two of those 3 maps are, one of them was the Destiny 1 launch map, and the other one was, Bannerfall, which has been around. I mean, these things have been around for a long time. One of them, Convergence, aka Pantheon from Destiny 1, is one of the most unanimously hated maps in Destiny 2 because it is objectively not good. For Destiny 2, the way that we move around the maps has changed. The abilities that we have has changed. And having tiny little hallways leads to snowballing effects and teams that are too afraid to push in. So you get lots of either mercies or matches going to time on that map. And so I do not understand this decision to say we have 3 maps in the rotation when there are lots of Destiny 2 original maps that are symmetrical, that could be well suited for an activity like Rift, and they're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, like that Dream City map that everyone hates? I think
Citadel.
Yeah.
Citadel
would
would
have
be
been
perfect,
a
yeah.
really
Would've been
good
great, right?
Rift
Yeah.
map. It would have been a really good Rift map. Absolutely. There's lots of ups and downs. You've got the whole the inside wall in the cave system.
Mhm.
There's a lot of room
Yeah.
to move around in there.
There's a
And
lot.
the spawns on Citadel were intentionally designed to be far back, so you wouldn't get shoved into a locker when you respawned. You
Right.
had like a full, like a buffer of space to move through before you got out into the fray. It would have worked pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
And
Eternity.
so this decision,
Eternity also is that the L-shaped one? Yeah, in Endless Space. Eternity. Or
well,
is that
you
the-
could have done Equinox,
Or
which
maybe
was
yeah.
Yeah.
which is in the realm of the 9, which is again perfectly symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
It has a neutral space in the middle. It would have, I think, probably been a decent Rift map. It's
Yeah.
not good for anything else, but I think it could have worked for Rift.
Yeah.
To their credit,
That's how I feel
Disjunction,
too.
to their credit, Disjunction, the new map, which was specifically designed for Rift, they nailed it. If anything, they
Mhm.
proved that when we balance a map around a specific activity, we can make it work. I'm still like the jury's out for me on Disjunction as a control map or as a clash
Yeah.
map. But as a Rift map, hey, it freaking works.
It was
It
great. as a
really
Rift
does
map.
work
Yeah.
for Rift.
You know
But
what?
credit where it's
2v2.
due.
2v2 actually worked pretty good as well.
That wasn't that
Yeah, me
bad.
too.
Weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
found
playing a
out.
game of Marco Polo at a shopping mall. Like, how are you gonna find this? I don't know, but so credit where it's due, Disjunction worked, but I don't understand why we are still so committed to these legacy
Yeah.
maps that we have been veterans like us. We've been playing on for almost a decade. I was playing on Pantheon before my son was born, and now he reads me bedtime stories. Okay, like I'm done with it. Okay, I am. So that's criticism number one. It's a 3-map rotation already is
Yeah.
pretty limited. It's going to get repetitious, and when 2 of those 3 maps are from Destiny 1, they're already repetitious
And-
before I load
Yeah,
in.
and that's
third.
kind of a broader criticism in general of like the state of PvP. How there was no new maps, and then we got dysfunction after what was it, like 2 years of no new maps. I don't even remember. but
Yeah.
Shadowkeep, I think, was the
yeah,
last one.
kind of nuts. Anyways,
Yeah, so we got Fragment, but other than that, it's only been
That's
Destiny
true.
1 maps. We got that group of 3 where they were like, "Hey, you want a new map? So get your Twilight Gap back." And people were like,
yeah, be like,
Okay.
oh,
and Exodus
okay.
Blue. I will say, Exodus Blue gets hated on by the community.
It's fun,
I
man.
still like it.
Yeah.
I still like it.
I still like it.
Yeah,
You know, so they keep giving us these legacy maps. Rusted Lands, they brought back as well, which, if you weren't aware, Rusted Lands is actually the oldest map in the history of Destiny. Rusted Lands
Is
was
it
the very
really? Oh
the
yeah.
very first PvP
That's
map that
true.
Bungie ever made because it was their testing grounds before they ever shipped Destiny 1.
wow.
That's where they went to test weapons, test abilities, was on Rusted Lands. So the oldest map in the history of Destiny
Hmm.
is Rusted Lands, and they brought that one back too. But yeah, it is pretty disappointing as a PvP enthusiast. I love a lot of what Bungie does with Destiny. Their narrative team, killing it. PvE activities,
man.
dungeons, raids. Hey, y'all are crushing it. But as a PvP player, if all you ever do is modify the sandbox, but not the spaces that we get to interact with, it's going to get really old really fast. I want to fight other Guardians on Europa. I want to fight them in the Braytech facilities. I want to fight them in all of these spaces that these DLCs have brought to us in PvE activities, but we've never been to. We're
Yep.
fighting Guardians on planets that don't exist in our solar system in the game anymore.
That's true.
Like, you gotta give us something, guys. Like,
yeah.
Tony's dropping $3.6 billion on y'all. I want to see some maps, baby.
So continue on the points of criticisms on Rift.
Oh, yeah. That's where we were. Like I said, I really enjoyed my time with Rift. I do have my criticisms, but I do want to make sure that I am clear about that. I did enjoy that Rift was back,
Yeah.
and I really hope that the criticisms that we do offer lead to a more refined experience,
Mhm.
so that Rift can stick around for a while, because I liked a lot of what it had to offer. I did
Yeah.
grinded out my 2 resets and got my title and all my loot, and so I was definitely digging that. But another one of my criticisms is I like this idea. I like this mechanic of resetting the rounds, like we talked about earlier, resetting the rounds after a spark is dunked. But it is really disruptive
Mhm.
Yeah.
to go to this black screen when you've been high octane, you think about, emotionally what you're feeling as you're ushering your teammate, or maybe you're the spark holder themselves, getting it, pushing through their defenses, and it's like playing Red Rover, and you break through and you get to that rift and you ignite that spark. It's a giant explosion. It's like, yeah, and then black screen.
And then you've been kicked to orbit. Oh wait, no,
then
you're still in the game.
You're like, you just kind of sit and wait for a while. And if there are, God forbid, if there are some last gen console players in your lobby, that black screen gets really long.
Yeah.
It gets really long.
Interesting.
PS4 Jim is over there at his black screen like, this is normal, and the rest of us are like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. It's like, it gets really long, and so it's really disruptive to the flow of Destiny combat, especially when you end a round on such a high adrenaline, high octane sort of a way. When you ignite that spark and you detonate this bomb and you go straight to this black screen. So I don't know what the answer is to it. That's the thing. Like, I'm not necessarily I have the solutions guy, but I can tell you when something is unenjoyable. And looking at a black screen in the middle of a match multiple times is unenjoyable to me.
It feels so like something's wrong, like the game's broken.
Yeah, that's right. And you sit there and you wonder, like, am I about to get kicked?
Need a scoreboard.
It makes me look at my
something up
watch.
there.
Is what it does. It makes me look at my watch, and then like how long? What time is it? What else I got to be doing?
Show
and
me
then
a
when the
replay.
round starts back up, I then look at the clock and like, okay, how much longer is this match?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If there was like a replay of the dunk, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to fill that gap. But let players feel like they're still involved in the match. Don't make them feel like it's like black screen. It's over for now.
Yeah. It felt just like it felt beta. Like, hey, we're testing this mode out to see if it works.
Yeah,
here's a blank screen because
exactly
we haven't filled in some sort of user interface information yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Also, if they can reduce the time, because my criticism on that is it really takes you out of the action, even though the point behind it was to prevent snowballing and other bad things that were happening in D1, like the people farming metals and all that. It's also detrimental in the momentum. So you do kind of feel like you said, you're checking your watch, you're checking your phone, and the round's over, time to check my emails.
That's exactly right.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. My other criticism is less about the design of Rift and more about the state that it shipped in. It was a really buggy experience. Like when it worked, but it was also really buggy. I got a lot of times I would find myself after maybe the other team would dunk first. And so the score is 1-0, 8 minutes left on the clock. And then you would get hit with this bug where sometimes if somebody was actively picking up the spark and then somebody shot and killed them before they got it fully picked up, the spark would despawn and it would never respawn. There was no fail safe just in case that happened. The rift would just not exist anymore. Or the spark would just not exist anymore. And so now you have 8 minutes on the clock, and I know there's absolutely no way for me to win this match. I have to sit for 8 minutes knowing I could kill 60 people. And I did. I have a 63 kill game in Rift that I lost because after the first dunk, it bugged out. And so at the end of the match, I was like, look at this 63 kill game that I lost.
And it was Clash with revives.
It was a Clash with revives, and there's nothing I can do.
Bungie's like, we don't want you farming kills, and TV's like, what does T-Von think about that?
You take the spark away, there's only one thing left for me to do. So there's that. There's also the bug where you get this infinite, like after a dunk, Salin says, we're sending you back to your base. Let's run it again. And you respawn. And before you can even take a step, he's like, I'm sending you back to your base. It's time to reset. And he uses this infinite loop of
that
just
bug
like
was terrible.
being pulled to a black screen and put back in the game.
Yep.
Pulled to a black screen. And eventually the game just times out. So you can do it 20. It's just depending on when you are in the match, you can do it 20 times, 10 times, 5 times, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the match just ends. So it was definitely a little bit buggy.
Yeah. That was my experience too. Like my second game, I had that bug, the infinite loop. I was like, what in God's name is this? And all the black screens. I was like, Jesus. the times that I was enjoying it, I was like, yeah, okay, I could see this could be cool. And then I don't know, it was a mixed bag for me. I definitely walked away wanting to play more, and I also walked away feeling disappointed that I was gonna have to wait. Like, was it a month and a half or something for the next one? It's like there's only there's only 2 Iron Banners now per season, and I definitely wanted to play Rift again. Actually, is Rift the next Iron Banner, or was it only this?
Should be.
I think it is good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And on top of that, obviously, you had the reputation bug where they were like,
yeah.
put on all the armor and you'll get
Jeez.
more rep. And so we put on all the armor, and they're like, just kidding, you're gonna get none. And so
That's
there was
terrible
that
as well.
bug too.
At least they fixed that halfway through the week.
They did,
right?
to their credit, and they tried to
Yeah.
sort of offset it too by giving you sort of like double
True.
XP or whatever. And I did end up getting all the rep I needed and get my 2 resets in. So
Nice.
But yeah, I was if you didn't do this for a living and your only free time was earlier in the week, you got screwed. So
Yeah.
there were a lot of bugs that did slip through the cracks when they shipped it, unfortunately, and I think that may have tarnished some people's experience with it, which is unfortunate. I really want, like I said, I want Rift to succeed. I want it to stick around and be a thing that people are engaging with and enjoying for a long time.
I agree. It is really unfortunate though that like this is, aside from trials, this is the first time that we've had a really big, well, in quotations, really big push from the PvP side of things. Like this is a brand new mode for Destiny 2 and new map after literally years, and it releases in this state, you know, not as polished. It's kind of like if there was going to be something that needed a home run, this really needed, the PvP side of it needed to be a home run, you know, to ease people's tension about feeling like PvP is forgotten. If anything, it kind of just makes it feel like business as usual. Like, yeah, PvP is there, but it's definitely kind of, it gets attention when other things have been taken care of, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no
Can
doubt.
we call it on Rift Talk here?
Sure. I was curious. Cool. I mean, TV, you know, like
That's
he's
interesting. Yeah.
like you said, TV, you're all about PvP.
You
So.
just want me to leave,
Yeah.
Briar?
No. Yeah. Get out of here, man. This is
Briar's disgruntled about having to shave his face soon.
That's true. I am.
Chat will.
There was a
I've been
Bob
on
this
the show in a
week.
while. I forgot that Briar was such an a-hole.
Well, let me remind
Before
you.
we get to the TWAB, we do have to talk about some lore stuff.
Oh my God, the story.
story.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Zavala, man.
I cried. I was holding strong for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, nope, I'm done. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then Amanda Holiday was like, which resonated, and it was, which sounds depressing, but anyway, it resonated, where she said, recently it feels like I'm being held together by duct tape and spit. And it was like, yeah.
Girl save.
It's like, yeah.
And she was like, I made some mistakes. I said some things
Yeah.
I didn't
It
mean.
was-
It's like, she was.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
cold, what she said to
Yeah,
Crow, right?
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the Zavala story. We got to see him confront his nightmare, which is his wife.
Yeah.
So we got to go through that, but then what really hit, so we did the Sever mission, was then we did the ink block cutscene. Anytime Bungie shows the ink block cutscene, you're about to cry. You know it's coming.
Things
You're
about
like,
to go down. Yeah.
ooh, oh dear. So this was basically the story of, we find out that Zavala had a son called Hakim, and he was like an orphan that they found, and they adopted him, and they raised him as their son, and he wanted to give up the light. He didn't want to do that
he was
anymore.
giving
He's
up
like, I
guardian
just want to be a
duties.
family man, and then some Fallen came and killed his son.
In the story, wasn't it that he wanted to be like his father, like Zavala, who was a guardian, and he obviously was not a guardian. So
Yeah.
he got
Go fight like daddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fight like daddy. And got stabbed.
he done got deaded quick, and then Zavala was like, "Oh, yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking."
Why'd you have to die in a darkness zone? There's no respawns here.
You don't have a
It
ghost.
It was rough. And then Zavala said, what was the line he said? I'm a shell of a man sending people to their death for a silent god.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, and Zavala, the voice acting of everyone involved was just incredible. Like, you could feel the pain. Zavala was truly a broken man, and Morla did incredible because she was narrating the Inkblot cutscene as Eris.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure.
And I messaged Morla after that cutscene, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I cried real tears today with you explaining Zavala's story." And she said, "It's so well written. I cried too. I cried in session. In between takes, I would sit down, and I never sit, and I would say, guys, this is so emotional,' and cry."
Yeah.
So the voice actress of Eris was sitting there crying, recording that scene. So it was heavy.
Yeah,
This
that
whole
came through.
season is
Yeah.
it's heavy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's heavy topics in general.
Yeah.
So then they're
Yeah.
putting it right front and center in this season. And
I
yeah,
mean, they've been doing that for a while now, right? It's like
They
the
have, yeah.
Destiny story team is just kind of they're not afraid to dig in.
You know, and I really wish they would have done storytelling like this back in Forsaken and before. Because,
yeah.
you know, for a lot of people, it was a bit of a shock to see in this story Zavala willing to sacrifice the light and say, this being a family man, not a violent man, being a family man is more appealing to me than being a warrior of the light.
Yeah.
And a lot of people saw they're like, wow, that's really interesting that one of the Vanguard would have that sort of feeling. It's like, yo, Bungie wrote lore like that for Cade, but they
That's
didn't
true.
put it in front of you like Cade 6. If you remember the lore for Cade very well, you know, he did not necessarily cling to the violent nature of waking up, being handed a gun, and told, go kill these people for the Traveler. And you're like, I don't even know what that is. Go kill stuff. He didn't vibe with that. Like, he ended up as the Hunter Vanguard, but everything about his identity, every way that he had control over who he was and telling people who he was, he would lead it back to the family that he knew the man he used to be had.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything was about, you know, a deck of cards, which is an homage to the man he used to be before he was Cade 6.
Yep.
And so he sort of clung to his sanity. He found his sanity in being somebody he used to be, a family man who may not have even been a violent man. And that's what kept him grounded. And a lot of his lore entries are about that. He's like, man, I don't even know if this guy I pretend to be is real, but he keeps me sane. He keeps me sane. This, a father and a husband, that's what keeps me grounded and lets me keep moving forward. And I wish they could have done storytelling like that. And it really just leads me to question, like, if this is how Cade was, and now we learn this is where Zavala was at one point, where he was willing to say, forget the light, I want to be a father and husband. What are we about to learn about Ikora, you know, as we move towards the final shape?
Choose
You know
a
what I
go-go
mean?
dancer.
We've seen we've seen Ikora like really struggle too. Like she, you know, when she's been gone off and dealt with all sorts of problems. So
Yeah.
it's deep, and man, the ink block cutscene, goddamn. And it was just the Hakeem died, and then his wife like left and ended up having another child with someone else, and then of course passed away because she's not immortal and can't live forever like Zavala, and he's been like visiting her grave for centuries, and he wants forgiveness for, you know, not choosing his family kind of thing. Yeah, it was really rough. It was incredible.
Zavala's
Didn't
been
they-
such a one-note character for the last 10 years too. Like he's really just been the Destiny cop, you know. And it's nice to see his character get expanded on, and
Well,
you know,
he's been,
some of his
he's been
motivations.
like the
to be
leader
there.
of the tower in a way, you know, like he's been the tower's security.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because we've had things with Zavala where he's kind of not wanted, like when Cade died, he didn't want to just send people out there immediately to go and get revenge. And like seeing this cutscene and what happened with his family and stuff, it puts a new spin on all of that for me as well. Because it's like he's kind of just maybe tired of losing people that he cares about, or sending people out to die, because that's literally what he said, is that he's an empty man sending people out to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, it made me appreciate other story beats with Zavala.
For sure, yeah. And did I get the impression, or did they say specifically in that the ink blot scene that like every generation he's asking for forgiveness from the same?
For centuries, yeah. The guilt of that and asking for forgiveness for that amount of time.
That's why I'm interested tomorrow to see what the lore attached to the Trials sidearm is, because the Trials sidearm is called Forgiveness.
Oh Lord, what's the lore on that?
Lord have mercy.
And then I think the lore book as well just kind of went through basically what happened in the cutscene, and I was reading it and I was like, God damn it, she's gonna do this again. It was just jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff on the lore front and story side. How you guys feel about the Severance mission basically having similar beats? Obviously, we're going to different areas of the Leviathan, but it doesn't seem to change up too much, right? Same type of thing. Go to a place, drop a resonator, here's some information, go kill.
Yeah.
Some of the
To
similar
be
enemies,
expected, I think. I mean, most of the seasonal stuff has been like this throughout the last year or so, right? It's like you kind of just do the same thing over and over again, week after week, to kind of get these little story bits.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of numb to it. You know, the narrative side has been amazing for Bungie these past few years, narratively speaking, but the actual gameplay side on this PvE front, there's been highs and lows, you know, and I mean, like you can't ask for a completely brand new campaign every 3 months, obviously. That's not gonna happen.
Sure,
I mean, you can
watch
ask,
me.
you're not going to get
Yeah,
it.
you're right. Actually, I know everything about
The
game
summer
dev.
missions have been fun. You know, you go and you kill dudes. It's always fun. And then you have this awesome story that accompanies it. And
Mhm.
seeing the nightmares there. And Zavala's like, she's slipping away. And I walk towards her and I'm like, no, she's still there. She's
Yeah.
still there.
No, she's right here, bro.
She's right here.
She's right
dude.
there. Everything's fine. Yeah, they have been spooky, like picking up that wrench and carrying it across the area so you don't fall down into the
Mhm.
zippy zaps.
Yeah.
That was
I really
it was
like
terrible.
the whole repurposing of Leviathan. I think that's actually really cool. I'd love to see more of that in the future. With them doing stuff, you know, like giving it a
I
quote unquote
love when they
facelift.
repurpose PvP maps, like the beginning of the Shadowkeep storyline, where you end up
Mm.
on the first light map,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
a beta map in Destiny 1. That was
Oh,
mega
yeah.
nostalgic. Mega nostalgic. Or like some of the what's it, Devil's Ruin? The exotic mission for Devil's Ruin, is that what it was that took you to, like, you were at Twilight Gap and you get Shaq and Saladin sort of unpacking a little bit of what happened at the Battle of Twilight Gap and having this sort of fun banter back and forth
Yeah.
too. That was really cool too. So anytime they repurpose spaces that we've almost kind of grown numb to, like, it's just like, oh yeah, that's a Destiny space, but then they apply story to it, it gives it a little bit more of a meaning to you, and it kind of carries some extra weight.
Yeah, I agree. It's always fun. Yeah. Cool. What else was there? Let's see. We heard, from Amanda. Not much else though, right? For this week?
I think that's about it.
Yeah. I guess the big thing is
That's
Trials coming back for the season.
Charles is
tomorrow.
coming back tomorrow.
Yep.
Right?
I just want those new weapons so bad.
New whips. Yep.
Yeah.
The fusion and the sidearm. Very excited.
The monkey helmet.
I already got that.
Yeah. Where were you? Did you not stockpile Trials engrams?
No.
What a casual.
The baboon helmet is pretty great. It's just straight up a baboon. It's no like
Nice.
space twist on a monkey or a monkey implied. It's just a baboon.
Baboon. Cool. Should we do the TWAB? I actually don't even know what's in the TWAB. I didn't read it yet today. I was busy
So it's
getting spooked in the
mostly
mirror.
clarifying
I know
Airborne
we said this, but
yes,
Ah.
mostly that. So it's like, Trials is coming back, blah blah blah, Stephen of the Haunted, Iron Banner was a thing, Valis Forge will be back eventually. So up in the air, we're hearing from the weapons team. So quick reminder of our stated goal for the airborne changes. Destiny has extremely fluid and expressive airborne movement, but that movement must be balanced against grounded players lest it become oppressive. We want all players who enjoy that playstyle to be able to build into it, but they'll have to make tough choices about what they leave behind to do so. Successfully engaging in the air will no longer be as simple as put an Icarus grip on it, but the upside for heavily investing in it will be higher. We're putting together a detailed explanation of how airborne effectiveness interacts with aim assist and accuracy for players who love to dig into the details, but that's going to take a little bit longer, and we wanted to address some points of confusion early. So firstly, Season 17 patch notes included a line that incorrectly stated that all primary weapons have their airborne accuracy penalty removed. This should have been qualified as, at 60 airborne effectiveness, all primary weapons have their airborne accuracy penalty removed.
Which
Bit of a
does not
difference.
happen. Which
Which
does
is
not happen unless
impossible.
you very specifically go for it. Yeah.
And if it's an exotic, like you can't even put an Icarus grip on it. So I don't
Wow.
even know if you can reach.
You'd have to use an exotic, Canier's Trick Sleeves, something that specifically alleviated the aerial effectiveness, debuff or penalty. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very difficult to get to 60.
Let me ask you something. Do you guys feel like you were led to believe that you could build towards that, like, organically?
Yes.
Instead of this, well, if you have some very specific exotics, then you'll hit it.
I think the opening statement there is really telltale.
Yeah.
The goal here is, I think it's a secondary goal to make it something you can build into. I think the primary goal of the aerial effectiveness changes is to, I don't know if there's a nice way to say this. I think the primary goal is to make it so that the lesser skilled players don't feel bad going against players who know how to use the jump button well. And I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I think there are two very good arguments to be made from different perspectives here, and I certainly encourage the dialogue that happens between those two groups of people. But there's one side of the community that says it really sucks when I get mashed up against somebody who can fly through the air, and I don't game very much. I don't think about looking, on all these. I don't operate on a 3-dimensional plane. I like to operate on a 2-dimensional plane, right? I do this, and if someone's in front of me, I shoot them. But when they're flying through the air, 3-tapping me, I don't know what to do. I just feel like I'm helpless to that, and I just get farmed by it, and it's really aggravating. I appreciate and understand that side of the argument. Then you have the people on the other side of the argument who are like, I've been playing this game for a long time. Okay, I have mastered my ability to use my jump abilities well, to time my jump abilities well as a Titan or as a Hunter or as a Warlock. Because when you activate your secondary jump ability, changes depending on what subclass you're on. I've spec'd into this. I'm using exotics that are really good at flying through the air and landing shots. It's really aggravating for me as somebody who put in the time and the energy and the effort to refine my playstyle. It's really aggravating for me to put my reticle on somebody, and it takes a lot of skill to do that when I'm flying through the air. Put my reticle on somebody's head, and I pull the trigger, and I get nothing. Yeah. That sucks for me. And I completely appreciate that side of the conversation as well. And so it really is an interesting balance to strike, I think. But at the end of the day, I think that maybe the solution would be, instead of nerfing or changing the systems that reward players for playing your game a lot in favor of the people who don't play it a lot, instead of doing that, would it make more sense to maybe modify the way that we do matchmaking so that somebody who's like really freaking good at the game, like real freaking good at the game, who's like on a scale of 1 to 10, they're a 10. Instead, maybe we should make sure they don't match up against 1s and 2s. And then you avoid that problem. And so a lot of people approach this conversation from, there's two camps. You're either connection-based matchmaking or skill-based matchmaking. I say the world isn't black and white. We don't live in a black and white world. There is a lot of room in between those two things. So maybe we do a little bit of what we call outlier protection. And we say that if there is a 10, a player who's a 10, and they hit Q match, right? Search for a match in control. Maybe we make it so that we take the 1s and 2s out of their player pool entirely. They can't match 1s and 2s. We know Bungie is tracking player skill, and they gauge it by a list of criteria they won't disclose, which I totally understand and appreciate, but they're tracking player skill. So take the 1s and 2s out of there. out of their player pool. Make sure they can only match 4s and above, 3s and above, whatever you decide is a fair starting, so that you don't have to change those systems and punish a player who's really good at your game, who put in the time, energy, and effort to refine their playstyle.
Mhm.
You don't punish them. You just make sure they can't match people who can't hang. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And vice versa. If I'm a 1 and a 2, 10s and 9s are not in my... I don't want my son matching up against me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times when I'm streaming, he's queuing upstairs in his gaming room. He shouldn't be in my lobbies. He should never be in my lobbies. Because if he is, he doesn't stand a chance. And that's not criticism of people, but some people are 1s and 2s. They exist. So make sure they can't match 9s and instead of changing the system.
Man,
That's
I've
where I
been
stand.
I've been saying the same thing for so long, because it's like, yeah, I want to have some games where, I can kill some people easier than I can kill other people. But when I match the people who, so they've loaded up the game for the first time, it's their first ever FPS, maybe it's their first ever game, and they literally
Yeah.
cannot turn to face me. I'm like, I don't want to kill this person. Like,
I feel
I don't
bad.
get it. Exactly. There's a point where you feel bad about certain people who are in your lobby, and then others it's like, okay, the player's maybe not like super good, but they can still kill me. If like their teammates are shooting me, they're still going to be able to kill me.
Mhm.
But there's certain people that just should not be in lobbies. So I've always been for protecting outliers from each other, because there's no reason why, like you said, a 10 should go against a 1. It just doesn't make any sense.
Of course, you're gonna get comments about like, oh, so now you guys want skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking is the worst thing ever to go in games. Like, okay, get
Well,
rid of that crap.
that's
blah, blah,
why
blah,
I
blah,
loved
blah.
what TV said. It's not a black and white of it's either all connection or all skill.
Yeah.
There should be like protecting the tippy top from the bottom.
I agree. The problem that happens is when the population starts bottoming out because of poor choices in the past for PvP. It then makes that queue time for either the top end or the low end become exponentially larger, and then they have to start widening the search parameters, and suddenly those 1s and 2s are matching people much higher than they should.
Yeah. And that might happen. But again, that puts the responsibility back on Bungie. Because if that's happening, it means they're not providing the PvP experience they should be providing. If nobody wants to engage with it and the player pool is shrinking, that's a reminder. Hey, y'all might be slacking a little bit. Might be time to pick up the pace on the PvP side of things to make sure that we maintain a healthy player base. Because if you want to be a competitive game in this market, on the PvP side of things, you're gonna have to support it really, really well. And so if you get to that point where the player pools are just getting too small to guarantee a competitive match, again, that's not on the players, it's on the developer.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
I also want to see input-based matchmaking. Like that would open up the player pools by a lot. I mean, if you get to the point where all console players can use M&K and all players can use a controller, then that would open it up so much. I'd be down for full crossplay, but I know there is that thing of, someone will see that a PC player is in their lobby and they'll get stomped and they'll go, oh, it's because of the mouse and keyboard.
That's
not
RTX
but...
4090.
But
coming in clutch.
Yeah, I mean, crossplay would help a lot. And
That's
if we
my
could do input-based matchmaking would be a way
You
to
need
do
a
that.
safe word? What a sick.
Of course, Pryor does.
Of course, look at him. He still got his
him.
beard on.
Jesus,
right?
But
So luxurious.
go back to
Keep my
your
neck so
questions,
warm.
Hefty, about being misled. I mean, it literally says right here that in the patch notes, it said all primary weapons have their airborne accuracy penalty removed. And that was incorrect.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah.
True.
Lot.
Yeah.
They literally told us that all primary weapons have their airborne accuracy penalty removed. So we're like, okay, cool. So you can't be like flying through the sky with a shotgun and have perfect in-air accuracy if that's how you want to play. You'd have to build into that. But if you're jumping around with your primary, then you're good.
You're good.
Well, okay,
no,
actually,
that's
what
incorrect.
I meant about being misled was when they originally pitched it, I felt like there was the avenue to being flying through the air with a shotgun.
Yep.
That was that you were gonna build to at some point. But now it seems like actually these are some very specific peak points that you have to like systematically select that are specific exotics to make that happen. That I don't know. It just felt like that's not really. You know what I mean?
And doing really full sending into that really is just getting you back to baseline.
Mhm.
It's not even getting you to a point where you're proficiently accurate in the air.
Right.
It's
yeah.
just getting you back to baseline where we were
back to where
in
you
the
were used to.
previous.
Like
Yeah,
you
so I
said, spending
totally.
years on playing the game, and now they take away that. Like when we were playing in the 2v2s, I was like, oh my god, I need to stop jumping. This is terrible. So I haven't
Yeah.
really been playing PvP because I've not been enjoying it lately. So
But
Why?
no, I do agree that just real quick with the being misled, I definitely 100% felt like could have ways to build into it or use certain weapons or change my arsenal to go with that airborne
yeah,
playstyle. But it's very, very specific and difficult and not a lot of avenues to get there currently, which
yeah,
I don't think is great.
yep.
Why don't you
Yep.
like it, Tufty? I believe TV wants to know why
Oh,
don't you like
why?
PvP?
Why have I not been playing
Yeah.
PvP?
Yeah, just
Well, you
why
like
aren't you
it.
playing? Why don't you dig
Yeah.
PvP?
Okay. So on like if I dig into it, it comes down to having played the game so much time passing by
Okay.
with being in the Destiny world, and then also seeing changes and like the way the guns feel and the changes. Then also kind of like the time that we had that was like excessive abilities, and then just like these one hit kills becoming prevalent, and then all these corrections that have happened from it. It just is kind of burnt me out on investing time into it. So I find myself when I play PvP, more often than not, like 80% of the time, after the first match, I'm already kind of like, why am I doing this to myself? And I'm not streaming it anymore. So it's doubly like that. Like after the first match, I go, I just don't want to play this because it puts me in a bad mood. So I should just stop. I should take my own advice and stop playing it. So that's why I've generally not been playing it. I enjoyed it yesterday when we did customs. That was fun.
It was fun.
That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Until Watts threw a knife and hit me in the face. One shot killed me. I was like,
Mm.
well,
That was
Sounds
the
like you
point where
deserve
you
here's where I become a salty
how-
bitch.
That's how Tefty lost his beard.
fell off right at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch
But-
shaved it off with a throwing knife.
Yeah, but like, I mean, if I was a new player, I think I would be constantly playing the PvP. I really would, because there's nothing else like it in that sense with the power fantasy. But as soon as like I have too much calculations in my mind, understanding the BS that goes on with like, well, this one hit kill showed up and this person happened to have this one hit kill, and the heavy showed up, and like, oh, now like the suit. It's time for everyone to have supers and stuff. So
How was I supposed to know that guy had an Ace of Spades with Momentum Ori with precision charge and high
Exactly.
energy fire equipped while he was radiant? I didn't know I was about to get one tapped by this thing. I didn't know.
legitimately, that's the stuff that drives me crazy now, as someone who's played the game for 7 years. Like
Yeah.
I take stock of that, and then I immediately get bitter at the end of the match. I'm like, I should just not play this.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I don't know what the I don't know the correct response is on Bungie's side.
Yeah.
Game
Mhm.
is getting increasingly more and more and more and more and more complex.
Mhm.
And so that's good for me as a YouTuber because people are searching, how the frick do I one tap with an Ace of Spades? Because I just got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good for me.
Yeah.
But it's not good for the player because there's so many things that are left up in the air. Like I didn't know that being charged with light and having high energy fire gives me a 15% damage buff, and I didn't know that being a radiant gave me a 15% damage buff. So now I'm up to 30%. Like there's nowhere in the game where it shows me those values.
Yep.
And I also I don't know what Momentum Mori just says that I get more damage. How much more? I didn't know that it was 20%. You know what I mean? Like so.
Well, I think you nailed
so-
it when you said there's nowhere in this game that shows these values, right?
exactly-
There's nothing in
yeah.
the game that's teaching you this stuff, or like
They love
you
to
just
be
kind of you
vague.
have to know to run to YouTube or to look it
Yeah.
up on a guide.
You know,
It'd be
for
nice if this stuff was
example,
in the game.
I'm actively working on a lightweight pulse rifle. It's got buffed. I'm working on a Bad Juju video right now.
Bad Juju's so good, by the way.
It is so good. It is so good. But listen, you apply the catalyst, and what does it say? String of curses is longer. You're like,
It's better.
how much longer? They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't have a clue. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that's just so vague.
Yeah.
If they
Yep.
if they would trust their player base, like we're not idiots. You know, we want to know these things. And so like I want to know the specifics. Just show it to me. Don't say it's better. Target acquisition with tunnel vision, better. It's like, just show me, like, how much better. Like, I want to know, because I'm over here like trying to fully craft out this build meticulously.
Yep.
But I have to go to these third-party API tracking websites to know what this perk does specifically. I don't want to know it does this thing better. I want to know how much better. Give me something quantifiable and qualifiable that I can list out on a spreadsheet if I want to, because that's the kind of people that are playing Destiny.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Yeah. Better. It's better.
Better.
Trust
baby.
us, it's
Better.
better.
It's longer.
That's good feedback, TV. Should we continue on the TWAB?
Yeah. So, after that has the incorrect statement has been adjusted. That said, at base, primary weapons generally shoot straighter while airborne than they did before. For example, the hand cannon base accuracy cone, aka error angle, is now 0.8 degrees compared to 0.97 last season. That's right, cones.
Cones.
I know what that means.
Cones of Dunshire.
And you can now fully eliminate the airborne accuracy penalty, meaning your weapons will shoot as straight as they do while on the ground, which wasn't the case before. Yeah, but it's so hard, though. That's the problem, is that it's like, yes, you can if you eat your grenade as a warlock and you're in the sky and you're using this very specific gun. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's giving me strong MLM vibes. Sign up under me, babe, hun.
You can
And
make
you can
money.
be a boss mom. You gonna make more money in your hubby. I'm telling you what right now.
And I think that is actually a good example of how, like you said, Tefty, do you feel like you were misled to feel like you could more easily build into it? Because they said that, yeah, you can fully eliminate it. You can.
You can. When it's Wednesday and it's a full moon and you happen to wear this exotic and
Yeah.
And
You got
you
this
have
weapon
to shave your
equipped.
beard.
you gotta shave your
Sorry,
beard.
Briar, but it's not gonna work for you.
It just lets me float through the air.
Oh yeah. I feel like 3 times throughout the podcast I've felt phantom beard. In fact, I tried to like stroke my beard a few times and I was like, oh God, chin.
Like, where are those
Chin.
Ritz crackers?
Flesh.
I
You're
ate
not selling
earlier?
this.
They're not there.
That's a fleshy beard.
Like
You are not selling this.
phantom.
Note that even if the center of the accuracy cone is directed at a target, if your accuracy cone is wider than the target on your screen, any single projectile can still miss. For this reason, we recommend that you try to hit one of the important thresholds on a primary weapon. So 30 airborne effectiveness, which is similar accuracy to pre-season 17 Icarus grip, suitable for jump shots at mid-range. A hand cannon's accuracy cone at 30 airborne effectiveness is 0.48 degrees compared to 0.47 degrees last season. It's basically the same.
Wow.
30. Again, not actually that easy to hit even 30, but we'll continue. 60 airborne effectiveness fully removes the airborne accuracy penalty and allows for more accurate, longer range airborne shots. How do you get 60? Does anyone know that? How do you get 60? Can I get 60 on any weapon that I want to use
Like I said, it's
for
gotta
my
be
personal
Wednesday.
playstyle that
It's
I
gotta
like?
be full moon. You
The
gotta
answer
just
is
shave your beard.
no.
No. Change the weapons you like and the exotics you like and the build you like, and then
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can build it.
They-
You just got to change everything you like about your playstyle. That's all.
That's exactly right. They didn't really include the fact that airborne effectiveness tends to be higher on newer weapons and lower on older weapons.
Oh, interesting.
So
Part of that
it's
push.
sort of like shadow sunsetting,
Yeah.
where if you like,
True.
I'm gonna be honest, I love the 18 kelvins. That's one of my favorite sidearms in the
Mhm.
game. You know, having that kill clip. It's there's nothing quite like it. You know, but since it's old, the airborne effectiveness value on it's gonna be really low. Sorry. So
That's interesting.
they're
I
trying
thought
to
the
force you into newer stuff.
Yeah.
It's like shadow sunsetting.
well, I didn't mind it with the traits. I thought actually like the origin traits was actually a cool way to get people to be
They are
like,
cool.
oh, I should have these weapons instead because there's an extra trait on there. But it's a little shifty, you know, suddenly like putting airborne effectiveness into stuff and then making the new stuff clearly. Well, I guess it's not shifty, but I don't know. It was just a little used car salesman in there, just a bit.
Well, it's like the new SMG NOD has 13 airborne effectiveness.
Hmm.
13 on an SMG, which so it's really even hitting 30 is very difficult, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of people who don't want to change their exotic and like everything.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's really not even that many exotics that you can use or things that you can use to increase it, and I think that's one of my main problems is that like if they had created exotics that gave me airborne effectiveness, then I could at least build into that more effectively and use the weapons I want to use. But it's
Yeah.
difficult.
And they have done a little bit of that. You know,
A little bit, yeah.
you've got the peacekeepers for Titan. If you want to, so if you're an SMG fanatic, now you're like, well, I kind of feel like I gotta go to Titan and use the. Even if you weren't a Titan main, it's like, well, I kind of feel like I kind of gotta go to Titan and use the peacekeepers. Or if you're a sidearm main, I kind of feel like I gotta go to Hunter and play Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves. Or
Mhm.
if you're a fusion rifle fan or a linear fusion fan, you're like, I kind of feel like I gotta go to Warlock now because they just dropped this Rain of Fire exotic boots that help with the airborne effectiveness value of fusions and linear fusions. So they've done a little bit of that, but it is still, like you said, it's so limited. And I feel like that runs directly contradictory to this whole idea of Destiny, which is
Mhm.
play the way you want to play. You know,
Yeah.
do what you want to do. Be the guardian you want to be. Become legend in if you decide that your entire identity revolves around this specific gun and this specific subclass, you do that. But now it's kind of like running contradictory to that, where you feel like there's a lot of limiting factors that say
Yeah.
if you want to run that, then you have to also do this.
Well,
And I
specifically,
don't like that.
if you want to play into the build fantasy that they've created, that's relatively recent for Destiny versus in the past. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think actually, Alexi Petro in chat said Palindrome and Igneous have the highest airborne effectiveness, and new players can't even get them anymore, which is
Oof.
a good point.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a good point.
See, Igneous is what? Yeah, Igneous is 23 base. Most things are
Very
12
high.
base.
Yeah,
So you put an Icarus grip on that, you're looking at 38 airborne effectiveness.
which
Most
gets you
things are
into
getting
the good stuff.
27.
And you need to
Yeah.
break that 30 to basically break even with last
Yeah.
season.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a little rough.
Yeah. Kind of rough out there for them builds. Getting
Uh-huh.
that airborne accuracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Keep in mind that special weapons are penalized more heavily while airborne than primary weapons and must get to 100 airborne effectiveness to eliminate the airborne accuracy penalty. How do you do that? How do you get to 100 by taking?
You cannot listen to me. Listen to me. So, okay, you've got something, for example, like the Uzume. Let's say you like to shoot things from the air, and Tefty, you asked me about sky sniping.
Yeah.
Let's say you like shooting stuff from the air with a sniper rifle, and you're like, okay, how bad can it be? Bro, the Uzume's airborne effectiveness value is 3.
Ooh, good luck with that.
Good glory, man. Like, there's
Jesus.
nothing you can't do it. You literally cannot do it. Nothing you can put your Adept Icarus mod on. You can run whatever exotic you want. Don't
They're
matter,
like-
baby.
They're like, it can go up to 100. It's just, it's never going to go to 100.
So to Tefty's point, like how I feel like this was kind of, this is why I was asking about that TV, because like I thought, oh, okay, TV will now be able to build into this and get a Sky Sniper built. But that's not what happened. That's the way it was described. It
Yeah.
led me to believe that would be able to happen.
Now,
That's
currently,
why-
Jesus Christ
yeah.
himself cannot obtain that airborne effectiveness. It's not happening.
Not even deities.
You want to hear something really funny? There's an astrocyte verse. The helmet that improves your blink provides a moderate benefit to airborne effectiveness.
Oh my God.
Perfect. That's perfect.
He doesn't
So
wanna-
if you can,
You guys
so
just
you
jump
have
off
about
boxes.
a 0.5 second window where you
That's
can
gonna work
quick
perfect with my
scope.
aimbot.
You could quick scope coming out of a blink.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got it. Bada
Or
bing.
you just always get on top of stuff and then drop down and then boom, quick scope.
Yeah, you got to
Airborne.
go on buildings and fall slowly and
Yeah.
hope. That...
Yeah, preemptively fall off of stuff to have your 6
Or
scope.
you take Astrocyte verse and you don't use blink, which is weird and was weird.
Oh.
I don't know why
It's just,
Yeah, of course.
doesn't make any freaking
it
sense.
doesn't make any
You know what's weird? I didn't even know why I didn't think that you could just equip it for the hell of it, just for the airborne accuracy.
Well, great.
That'd be a good video. Like, try and gauge. Like, do you get the benefit of that airborne effectiveness buff if you don't have blink equip? I don't know. I have to test it.
It's probably intrinsic, right? Like
I'll
regular
make Fallout
stats.
do it. I'm not doing that.
Face Loss said, I think the Mega Twab said Astro gives plus 30
Wow.
to airborne effectiveness.
That's
So
a
that
lot.
would give you a total
is a
of
lot.
how much is it? Let's look at what Beloved. How much does Beloved have on there? 3. So you can get to 33. You only need to get to 100. You know, you're just shy 60.
You're
So
barking up
close.
the right tree, though. It's like those cat posters. Hang in there.
Yeah,
You're
hang
almost
in there.
there.
You're getting close. You're getting there. Good.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I was excited. I was excited about that. I was like, oh my goodness, if you get to 100 on special, it's like eliminated and you can be like doing this crazy stuff. And it's like, yeah, but to get that, you're gonna, I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah, you can't do that though.
You can't really do that.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder why they even mention it if they know that you can't get there.
It's like the people selling student loans. So, like,
Yeah.
just take the loan. You know, you can pay it off.
It's like free money.
Yeah.
You pay it off later. Don't even think about that.
It's fine.
You'll never become an adult.
You can pay it off if you got.
Don't
rich
trust
parents.
anybody over 30.
Yeah.
And then they say we're keeping an eye on feedback on airborne gameplay in general and are looking into cases where players miss shots they feel they should have hit. Submit all your clips of like, Baji, the clip, my reticle's right there. What's your airborne
If you
effectiveness?
do that, try and be
Yeah.
respectful though. Don't be
know,
an
it-
asshole about it.
You talk about the misleading thing. You talk about that misleading thing, right? Where the way that they pitched these changes before they shipped was that there's just not going to be as much forgiveness. Destiny's got a lot of forgiveness built in. So sometimes when you aim slightly to the left of the head with a hand cannon or sniper rifle, it's just going to count. It's just going to count.
Yeah.
But if you're airborne, like your reticle actually has to be on the head, because if it's not there, then that's not where your bullet's going to go. So this is the way they pitched it is like, it made it sound like it's going to be really good for players who are good at aiming while flying through the air.
Yeah.
But the cones, they say otherwise. The cones say, no. You can put your reticle there, but your cone is saying anywhere within this radius of the head
Yep.
is where it's going to go. So your reticle could be right here, but based on how far away you are, it could go anywhere within the circle. It could go up here off of my head, it could be a body shot. You know what I'm saying? So your cone is the thing that's going to dictate where that bullet goes. So no matter how they pitch it, RNG is a factor always and forever. So there are times, and I know this because, this past couple of days I've been working on this new Austringer video, and I'm used to jumping with a hand cannon, and sometimes, I'm looking at my own gameplay, like, I really think I hit that shot, and I'm looking at it, sure enough, the reticle's right there, but because the cone is wider than, and this is what Watts was talking about earlier, because the cone is wider than the person's model at that range, there's a random chance that bullet is going to go anywhere in that cone, regardless of if my reticle is perfectly on that man's nose. Like, if I am absolutely meticulously perfect on my aim, it just might miss. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, actually, that was another point that I didn't articulate when you were asking me why I don't play PvP or enjoy it as much. And that was another, the RNG side of bullets has driven me mad. Because, like, before, again, when it's new, you don't know that, so you don't question things as much. You just go, that's strange. Wow, that's strange. Connections? I don't know. Something's wrong. I don't know. It's just me. And then, like, you get down to the science of it. You start recording your gameplay, and you review footage. You're like, what in God's name? It was dead on. And it's like, the game's like, we have to flip a coin every time it's that distance because of the cone.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I was totally down for it with you don't, like you said, you don't get as much help to hit those shots in the air. Like you have to aim a little bit better to
Mhm.
hit that shot. But it's not that, unfortunately.
That's not what
Right.
they're going for,
That's
though,
not the
right?
reality.
They're trying to reduce the skill gap. If they go with
Yeah.
the way you're saying, it's that increases the skill gap, not reduces it.
You know what's weird though is like that doesn't give you satisfying experiences as a player. If anything,
I
it would
agree.
give like new people a taste of something that makes them go, "Ugh, it didn't work."
Well, new
Wow.
people aren't going to be jumping in the air expecting to hit headshots.
If they come from other games, they could be.
They might, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they're coming
You're
from
coming
Halo,
from
if
Halo,
they-
you're coming from Valorant, you're coming
Apex,
from this, that, yeah.
yeah, they're
Fair.
gonna
That's
try
fair.
to do some air stuff, and then they're gonna be like, "What? Dude, this ain't
Well,
it,
and then
man."
that's the thing, right? Is that like with the skill gap, if it's just let's say it's aim assist, you get significantly less aim assist when you're jumping, none of that accuracy stuff. Someone who is really good at aiming wouldn't need to build into that. But if you need some more help with your aim assist, you could build into that, and then that levels the playing field.
Yeah.
So the whole accuracy thing being random, I'm just never really a fan of it. And then
No.
especially them saying like you can just gotta get to 60, and it's like
And it's
Okay.
it's easier on this side to criticize, and I totally understand that.
Sure,
Yeah.
I do want to say that I do not envy the people who have to design and balance the sandbox of this game,
Yeah.
because at Destiny's heart, it is not a hyper competitive shooter. It is supposed to be something that it has this echelon that you can reach. You know, if you really refine how well you can play this game, you can get to a point where you can do things like solo flawless encounters of the dungeon, you know, and low manning raid encounters. There is an echelon you can reach that shows a certain proficiency, but we also want the game to be approachable for
Mhm.
just about everybody. And I totally respect that. And I totally am on board. I 100% agree with Bungie in that regard. Like, I want Destiny to be the game that anybody can say, I want to play that game. And they can jump in, they can do the activities, at least at the base difficulty levels, and say, I had a really good time doing that. And I like doing it. I want to do it. And so I'm totally on board with that. But striking that balance is just got to be such a hard job.
Yeah.
As much as I can throw shade at the systems that we get, I do try to temper it and just also appreciate the difficulty of this task. I think it is a really
I don't
tall
wanna do it.
order. I would not want that job.
I don't want that
No.
stuff. No.
Definitely
I
not.
don't want
I
that.
like my job. My job is wicked cool.
Yeah, we get to go on the internet
Yeah.
and go, how do I get to 60 airborne effectiveness, Bungie?
Yeah.
Yeah. But they do say in season 18 and beyond, we plan on giving players new ways to build into the stat, and of course, the stat will also be visible on weapons.
That'll
So,
help tremendously when it's visible. And I
it
don't
would
have to go
help
to
when
a-
it's visible. I don't just want it on weapons though. I want it on like my main character page, because if they're building more exotics that are going to give me airborne effectiveness, I need to know how that adds on to my weapons
Yeah.
airborne
You need to see
effectiveness.
it add up. Yeah.
I need it to be
Yeah.
a main stat on my character, like my recovery
right.
and all of
It
that.
didn't even occur to me that wouldn't come along with it being on the weapons. Yeah,
mean,
you absolutely
hope it
need it
will.
to be a. Yeah.
Yeah.
Needs
Or
to be on
even
the
put it on
character
the weapon and include like include the exotic or something. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, the
I need to
accumulative.
be able to see it all.
They could
Or
put
have like two numbers, like
Yeah.
one's the intrinsic and one's the modified
white
by
bar,
build.
white bar, gold bar. White bar is the weapon.
There you
Gold
go.
bar is the rest of everything added up. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, because as it stands, there's just not a way for you to build into this stat with the stuff you want to use. You have to use very, very specific things. So
Yeah.
they'd need to widen it by quite a lot, I think, for it to feel good.
Yeah.
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 So, what else is coming next? We'll have a small mid-season weapon balance update shipping with Solstice, which will include some buffs to weapon subfamilies that have been languishing for a while, a fix for certain special weapons not getting enough ammo per brick for one defeat in PvP. That is specifically glaives, because you get one and you need two.
Yeah. Yeah, I picked a bad season to start using glaives. I didn't use it last season. Then Nezerax came out, and I really like Nezerax. I've been using it a ton in PvE, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it in PvP, and I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, getting one ammo on each brick is a killer. But
Yeah.
they did not specifically say on glaives, and so because of that, I'm hoping that they've also taken the time to look at things case by case, because there are some people, there are dozens of us who like the Fourth Horseman shotgun. And listen, we need 2 shots. We need 2 ammo on every brick pickup, because that gun's just like, you know what I'm saying? So, but if you only pick up one, one buckshot every brick, like you can't do it. The
Can you actually get a kill with one shot?
You can.
You have to be barrel stuffed.
You
You
gotta
can
be
in the same,
in their butt.
Yeah.
You can in the same way that you can survive a fall from a 5-story building.
Okay.
You can.
Wing and a prayer. Got it.
It's possible. So hopefully they take that by case.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
It's to try to reevaluate. There are some things that just are not. They don't behave like everything else does, and so they have to have some special consideration.
I guess they looked at all the people, like you said, the 12 people playing. They're like, we don't need to add those yet.
There are dozens of us.
It says, beyond that, we're wrapping up production on Season 18 weapons and matching balance update, which will be of standard appropriate size. Some highlights, revisiting some weapon subfamilies, legendary perk and exotic weapon tuning, and adding, this is the exciting part, some intrinsic anti-champion functionality to several exotic weapons.
Yay.
Thank God.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Because let me tell you, I cannot use bows. My hands start hurting after 1 GM with a bow. And then I'm like, great, gonna go lay down, be an old lady, put my old grandma gloves on. Can't use bows. So if it's a season where it's like, clearly the best thing to use is the bow, you can use this thing, but in a GM, I don't want to use like maybe a sidearm for, I don't know, anti-berry with the champion that's on the other side of the map. Yeah, so being able to just pick an exotic that has some intrinsic stuff would be really nice. Really, really nice.
Yeah, especially if there's an assortment to choose from.
Anything that doesn't make me use an SMG to stun an overload is good by me.
Yeah.
Also, what are the chances that oppressive exotics means the last word? What are the chances like that is specifically
It might be
a culprit? I don't know. I see so many people. I play my PvE on PC, but my PvP, since I am a console content creator, that's the audience that I hit with my content. I do that specifically on PS5. So I see a lot of PC players saying last word is nuts. Can you guys attest to that? In PvP?
with controller last word gamers.
Yeah.
It's good. It's very, very good. Very, very good. If I'm using like Fool's Remedy, I'm like, okay, I could probably beat the last word guy. If I'm using other stuff, doubtful. If they can hit their shots, of course. If you have a good person with last word, it's I don't think you can really do much against that. Yeah. Before we do Twitter questions, not too much, but there is a free emblem that you can go get. If you go to redeem and type in T67JXYPH6, I'll put it in the chat. You get an emblem, and I think this actually was on Holtzman's favorite cape back in D1. And this is to celebrate Solo 3.0, and they gave us some. We had to do a bunch of nightmare containments to unlock the other fragments.
Yeah.
They gave us some numbers on that. So over 1.6 million players completed at least one nightmare containment. 1.6 million individual players.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
That is.
People play Destiny?
Dead game. Am I right?
That's a lot of people.
What is it? 8 years old now? Dead.
Dead. Million people dead playing the game.
Guardians average 13.8 nightmare containments per character. One dedicated
Those are rookie
player.
numbers.
One dedicated player even completed over 390 nightmare containments over the course of the event.
Is that Rick?
They really wanted the red borders.
Was that Rick? I think it was Rick. Yeah. I'm joking.
And in the first 24 hours, one Guardian successfully completed 78 nightmare containments in the first 24 hours. That's a lot.
The first 24 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So go get your emblem. And then they talk about the new class items, which I really do like. That they have an effect with when you wear certain exotics. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talk about the new pride pin, which is beautiful, and the emblem is gorgeous.
Yeah, I gotta order that.
Yeah.
That is really good.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
No doubt.
really, really good. And that's pretty much it. Besides all the usual stuff, of course, the fan art and the movies are beautiful
Yep.
and amazing. Go check them
Always
out.
awesome stuff.
Always really good.
Cool. Well, Briar,
Do some Twitter questions.
a little shave and question, a little question shave and question,
It's
huh?
kind of late, guys. It's almost 11
I
o'clock
think it's
already.
perfect
really
time.
flies.
I think it's the
That's perfect because you'll
appropriate
do it.
exact
You
moment.
go to bed, you wake up and go, all right, no beard.
Yeah, man, that's
You'll
what.
be able
no
to sleep
beer.
on your stomach for the first time in years. Think about that.
Yeah,
Oh, I won't have the soft pillow to sleep on though.
yeah. It's weird. I looked at my beard comb this morning. I was like,
I can start
We're
shaving. Does
done.
somebody else want to start
We're
reading
done,
some of
yeah.
the Twitter questions?
yeah. Should we just pull them from the thing? Watts, you want to
Yeah,
be the first one?
At random.
Briar's you're gonna have to start shaving right now. Yeah.
That's the deal.
I turn off my
Read it.
microphone so you don't have to hear that.
It's happening. Do I need to make? Let's see. Well, I don't know if I can.
You know, if you use code, at manscaped.com, you can actually get a razor that'll shit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Oh, Manscaped code.
Realized I
Oh.
never emailed them back about
Yeah,
me
Manscaped.
doing Manscaped. They're like, we really
wa-
think we'd want a lady's opinion on the landscaped
They're like,
package.
you
I'm
are
like,
our target audience for
freaking know, dude.
manscaping. That's
I can tell
hilarious.
you that, yeah, look after your balls. Good idea. Don't make them stinky.
Don't
That's it.
also don't make your balls bleed.
Don't make them bleed or stink. Thank
That
you.
is
Yeah.
less
Have a
than
nice day.
optimal.
Also smell bad or bleed. That's
Yeah.
not a good thing.
That is my.
Makes
yeah,
the junk look bigger too.
it's
Okay.
true. Do you want
I
a
need to see if
big
I can.
balls?
Big balls.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make Briar bigger while you talk.
Okay. Let's see. First question. Wanted to show some love to everyone. The GCP. That's what we're called now. Was great. Thank you. TV, you're great too.
Ah,
This is from Brandonius TV. Who's in chat, I believe. What is one thing that you admire about your other co-hosts and guest? Compliment time.
That's a nice
Ooh,
question.
compliment time. I
Isn't
like
it nice?
I really like it when my co-hosts follow through on stuff. It's just it warms my heart when they're
Yeah.
when they
for the
finally
kids,
make
look
it.
at
There was this tattoo that I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it, but it's nice to see Briar, coming through. It's nice, Briar.
That's
Thank
fair.
you.
I admire Tefty dealing with the financials because I can't do that.
Same.
I have no idea. So if someone would reach out to me and be like, podcast, getting on Spotify and stuff, what's up with that? I'm like, beats me.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
jack about that.
Not a damn clue. So I appreciate that we split up our responsibilities and there's not a single person that needs to worry about a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep.
I feel like when I read something that makes me mad on the internet, I can look to Watts for like my moral compass because it's 99.9% of the time going to point me in the right direction.
Oh, well, I was playing a cult game today about
99.9%.
sometimes.
There's that eating people thing. Yeah.
there's the eat people.
Little
Mostly cool.
Kylie Minogue being buried alive, apparently.
Yeah. And Kylie Minogue was buried alive. Or, yeah.
And with Tefty, the more I know him, the more talent just kind of keeps popping out. You just never know. It's like it just keeps popping out, and it's really impressive to see. His music making is like watching a magician at work, and I really like watching his YouTube
That's
channel
true.
with memes. It's just fascinating. I don't have any technical knowledge of what he's doing. It's basically just watching a magician mix fucking pots of who knows what. But it fucking comes out amazing.
Thanks, Briar. That's very
I
kind.
love
man.
this. This is like
So
a session
wholesome.
of when my kids fight, and then we make them look at each other and say what they like about each other, except with more profanity. I love it.
pretty accurate. I will say there's a lot of time when you're a content creator and you're doing it on your own. There's kind of this thing of finding people that you get along with, that kind of collab with or play with, or like Trials is a great example. And DCP has just been there the whole time. I don't have to worry about any drama.
We got so
Everyone's
lucky.
chill.
Yeah,
We
really
did. We got our own little circle. It's
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
None of
Thank-
y'all
thank
been
God.
like mass canceled. You don't have to like
Right.
get far away. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Although
I
Bungie
totally get that.
snapping up Boltzmann, that was kind of fucked up.
And then they took Mercules.
Yep.
Keep poaching our
Who's
DCP
next?
crew.
Poaching our
Stop
talent.
poaching our talent, Bungie. Stop it.
I wouldn't worry about it. There's not a lot of talent left.
Dang.
I'm sorry. It was right there.
It was right there.
It was right
understandable.
there.
Let's see. Mr. Macalito says, Briar, how is the garden coming along? Has there been a step up in tension with your new neighbor and their pristine garden? Wow.
So let me tell you about this guy.
Also, Magalito says, also, please don't barbecue Briar. No promises. There's plenty of cookies to go around
Thank you,
for
Mr.
everyone.
Magalito.
Are you going to put Briar into the cookies? That could be a possibility. Thanks for the GCX event. Man, you
Briar
always
cookie
deliver.
crumbles.
Yeah. Briar snickerdoodles.
Briar snickerdoodles.
The battle between me and my neighbor about the lawn is completely one-sided and fabricated in my own mind. He has no idea that I have this ongoing war with him. He's a perfectly nice guy. He just has a perfect lawn that makes my lawn look terrible next to it. My lawn would look fine in most neighborhoods, but this guy, brand new lawn that just and he's out there, he's a retired guy. He's out there every day picking the weeds, trimming, mowing the crisscross lines. Like, it just looks perfect all the time.
Got the crisscross mow pattern? Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta
And I'm
strike
out
that
there-
lawn, baby.
Yeah.
I went out there and I said, this is stupid. Middle of the summer, I'm like, I'm gonna put out some grass seed, try and, put a little Rogaine on my lawn, so to speak. Which meant I couldn't mow it for 2 weeks while the new grass seed took place, and now my lawn looks awful because I haven't mowed it in 2 weeks. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's shameful. My wife is she parks down the street and she comes through the back door.
She's embarrassed. We got really lucky actually because there was a guy who cuts who does people's yards in the neighborhood. He's just like the neighborhood guy that people have do their grass and take care of stuff.
Passion for landscaping.
Yeah, so if you
You pay
hire
him, or
him,
is he like?
no, of course you pay him, but because he's doing everyone's stuff in the neighborhood, it's way cheaper than getting someone to drive over to you and do all the stuff. So
Yeah.
Nice.
thank God our grass was not doing good, not
Rough
good,
shape.
very bad, real bad,
Uh,
a disaster.
Let's see. Mohican9 says, you died and decided to be cremated. Do you think there is a point doing the cremation process that you're perfectly cooked? Wait, what? Do you think
Before you
Oh,
turn to ash, you're just
Like 2 minutes in the furnace and you're just about well done, and then you start burning.
Oh, right.
yeah, before
burn point.
the ash kicks
Yeah,
in.
you have an actual burn point. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably. You're looking good, bro.
Yeah, looking good, Briar. Look at that. You got the goatee
Feeling good.
now? Feeling good?
Yeah.
Feeling fresh? Feel
Goatee,
light?
right?
The goatee's pretty
That's
good
legal,
too.
right? Goatee
Yeah.
legal.
Yeah, goatee.
Yeah.
It's got some evening to do
Okay,
when I'm not looking
leave-
at myself at a 2-inch screen, but
Leave
What?
the
Doesn't the
stash for last. Leave the stash for last. Don't do that yet. I wanna
that's
see-
gotta stay.
Yeah.
Beard is gone.
Yeah, okay. So technically there was a thing that said we were cosplaying as Mylin. And that was
So
that's
no, I
Oh,
can't
is
even
this
keep the
coming?
gotea.
I think you got to just go mustache. Yeah.
Just
Just
gotta be the
mustache, okay.
mustache. You see how I looked? You need to copy.
Yeah,
me
you got to
from
copy
yesterday.
that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do in a 2-inch screen.
Why didn't you bring in a bathroom mirror?
I got an extra bathroom mirror hanging out.
Giant wall mirror. Just bring it in, man. That's easy.
All right. This is as far as I'm going to do in this. I'll clean it up for.
All right, round of
Side
applause
We
for Briar.
appreciate it, Briar.
Following through for the
Good job,
kids.
Briar. For
job,
the
man.
kids.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to take a shower.
Look at you. You look like a banker or something. Look at it. Yeah.
Ah,
Well refined.
Yeah,
Just send me your money and we'll invest
Classy.
it. We'll do the
Just-
investments in the stocks and the trades.
Imagine showing
I
up.
got this really great this plan. It's shaped like a pyramid, right? It's like we take the money from a lot of people and give it to just me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
Man, you sold that.
yeah.
Right?
See, I feel like you can now take clients out to the green and shoot 9. You know, go play
Yeah.
18 for your clients while you're doing investment banking and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know any banking terms. It's hard for me to make
Dividends,
jokes here.
accrued.
All the
something.
gamers are like, stonks? I think is
Yeah,
stonks.
stonks. What did Elon tweet? What's tanking right now?
I feel like the guy who yells at his kid just a little too much at baseball games. Just a little too much.
How's it feel?
Briar looks like a guy who had a Christmas card with assault rifles last year. I didn't do the sideburns.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
I think you should
They were
leave,
under
them.
the headphones.
Leave that strip like
Oh,
that. That
man.
curl. Nobody does the curl back. That's a new thing. You do a little
Oh, yeah.
bam, right?
Trendsetter.
Trend setting. That's right.
Hundo P.
Are we done?
A couple more questions. What do you think? Actually,
Okay.
Sparty said, I think it's fair to say that True Vanguard is the sidearm king and Ms. Watts is the sidearm queen. So when are we going to get a trials card with these two amazing gamers?
Oh, that'd be fun to
Dude,
watch.
I would love that. That'd be
Yeah, I'm
fun.
down.
I'm down.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to link it up sometime. Be
Link
good
it up.
stuff.
You can bring
Sidearms
Mile
on.
in for color commentary. No, no good.
For recommendations, on
Listen,
the
that
proper
man just
time-
had a child. What are the chances he can do a 45 minutes to an hour completely
Sweet.
Give
uninterrupted?
him a pulse
Good
rifle.
point.
He's hilarious.
You know?
Pulse rifle, fusion rifle. He will.
Nah, I love Mylan.
He will
good
storm
people.
them down.
Let's see. Any
Briar's
other
got the questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was looking to see if I could find something here.
Yeah, I was browsing.
What inspired you to get into off-meta guns and builds such as double primary and sidearms? That's from the Abyss. What inspired
that's a good
off-meta
question.
builds and guns and all that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've always been that way. When I was growing up, right, and we're playing Pokemon Red and Blue, and you're bringing, who's got the cable, who's bringing it to school, so we could do some trades and battles, Everyone's got their max level meta teams, right? And I'm over here like, nah, I did a full bug team. I got a bug team. That's just the way I've always been, It's like I don't like necessarily just following the trends that someone sets in front of me. It doesn't mean I'll never do those things, but generally I just let what speaks to me be the thing that guides the way that I play video games, the way that I interact with content. So, I mean, even when it comes to doing like my solo dungeon runs, everyone's like, these are the strats. You're going to use this gun at this encounter for DPS. You definitely, like when everyone was running Pit, they're like, here's what you got to do for Pit. You got to use your anarchy because you're going to do the, what were they calling it? The titty dong strategy where you go, where you shoot the anarchy, one to the left nipple, one to the right nipple, and one down south. And then you run away and you kill the thrall, right? And I was like, nah, Deathbringer's cool. I don't like Deathbringer. So I'm going to use that. And so that's what I get my solo flaws. That's just the way that I approach everything in life. It's really whatever speaks to me. That's what I want to invest in.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I set out one day to say, you know what, I want to be an anti-meta. Like I never did that. It was just all about I use something, and if it speaks to me, if I enjoy the experience, I like the character behind it, I like the lore, the look, whatever it is about it that speaks to me, then that's what I'm gonna run with.
That's how I felt about my hung jury yesterday until I got made fun of for using the hung jury, and then someone dropped $500 to delete it, and now my hung jury is gone.
For the kids.
For the kids. For the kids. So it's fine.
For the kids.
It's great. Yeah, actually, I guess we could probably wrap it up, right?
Yeah, it's getting pretty late.
Yeah.
I got one more question. Blandon Blanderson says, if you are in a band and you are not allowed to sing or play guitar, bass, keyboard, or drums, what non-standard rock band instrument would you play?
Saxophone.
And clap those cheeks.
Saxophone is actually a great answer.
I do love the saxophone.
Jaw harp.
Ooh, little jaw harp.
That'd be good. The shamisen.
What would
The theremin.
Theremin, yeah. Get all super precise with your thing, like that. Man, what would I play? Trumpet, actually. I think it would be really fun to be super expressive with trumpet. Not like, like loud constantly, like the real awesome, like being able to take a jazz, Louis Armstrong type of stuff, Miles Davis, but then put it into modern rock terms. I would totally be into that if I was forced.
How about a trombone? That way you always had the sad trombone sound like right at your fingertips. That'd come in handy. Wah, wah.
Cool.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
It looks
bad.
It happened. Briar lost the majority. He lost 99% of his beard on stream. So thank you, Briar. Thanks for pulling through,
some
man.
Pieces left.
He still has a few pieces. I still got my burns. See? I cut some chops in there. Like I said, I wanted to look like Mylin as much as possible.
Yeah.
Might debush the mustache later, but we'll see.
You got to put the hair down a little bit. Flatten it.
You're right. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Since my
longer hair probably too.
My genetics are making me recede more and more as I age.
Tell me about it. It's like a racetrack back there.
TV, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor. Thank you.
And streaming, making content. Where's the main place to find you?
Predominantly on YouTube Gaming, over the YouTube.com/the True Vanguard is where you're gonna find me. Cool. That's where I make all my live streaming is there, and my VOD content is there. Also, if you go to TrueVanguard.com, you could show my wife some love. So Facebook Gaming gave us another contract. They're like, we'd love for you to make VOD content on our platform.
Awesome.
I don't have the bandwidth for it, but my wife quit her job. She works right next to me. Her setup's right over here. We work side by side now, and she makes my videos and edits all my videos for the Facebook gaming page. So that's TrueVanguard.com. So you could go over there and just say, hey, thanks, Steph, for editing these videos. Really love these things. That would mean a lot.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool, man. Well, like I said, always a pleasure to have you on the show, and thanks for coming on. So
thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, that's the episode. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Again, shout out to everyone that came through and donated to our GCX block. That was amazing. We appreciate all the support. Also, shout out to our Patreon members and our Twitch subs. You guys make all the shows happen. We do have a firing range coming out real soon, in a day or so. So look for that. And then also side quests should be interesting since we've got game news finally. Stuff coming out.
I played Cult of Lamb.
Cult of Lamb.
I fell asleep twice during the
oh my god.
E3.
The Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, we'll talk about it Monday. Also, I finally got my Steam Deck email today, and I ordered it.
Ooh.
Anyways, that's it. Bye, everyone.
This is Briar's worst day ever.
Yeah,
He's lost his beard.
Lost his beard. And his,
email.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.